Hey there, guys, and welcome back to the Travis and Damian Podcast, episode 48. We're available on anchor.fm/Travis Damian Podcast, along with Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. If you guys would like to ask us any questions, you can leave a voice message at the Anchor link or in the YouTube comments section. Today, we're going to be talking about general gaming news, then our recent activities, including No More Heroes 2 and Attack on Titan. Lastly, we'll talk about PlayStation news. First up, Mass Effect Legendary Edition is announced. So this was something that was rumored for a very, very long time, that they were going to do a remaster of the original Mass Effect trilogy because I believe the newest one, Andromeda or whatever, wasn't received so well by fans, and people have been wanting a sort of like upscale remaster, and they are delivering on that. So BioWare is doing it. I don't think they gave this to a third party or anything. They're doing this in-house, and they are pretty much upgrading all of the games to optimize in 4K, all DLCs included, and they modernize the experience so that fans and new players can experience the original work in its best possible form. It's going to be released in spring 2021 for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC, and then they will be backwards compatibility with the new consoles, Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. So, what do you think about this, Damien?
I think this is really great because I actually tried to play Mass Effect 1 a few years ago on Origin, but the PC port's a little, it's not great because it's like an older, it's like from like 2007 or whatever the Mass Effect 1 first came out. And I know my brother loves Mass Effect. Well, he loves 1 and 2. He loves most of 3, but yeah, the ending does get kind of not great. But he does say it's like one of his favorite series like ever. And I'm actually really excited to like really dive into it with this remaster. And again, this was rumored for a while, so I kind of like held off on ever playing the rest of the Mass Effect games because I'm like, I'll just wait until there's like some remaster version. Kind of like what I'm doing with the Metroid Prime trilogy, since that's been rumored for a while too. That's gonna get a Switch port. It just hasn't happened yet. So yeah, I'm very excited, and it also makes it really convenient since a lot of the Mass Effect all these Mass Effect games carry over your save data from one game to another, so they like pick the choices you did and they actually matter in the next game. So I think that would just be way easier if they were like in one thing, I'm assuming it's in one thing, like you just pick it from a menu. So yeah, I'm personally very excited for it. From what little I played from Mass Effect 1, like I thought the world building was super cool. There's a lot of really interesting like lore and like alien species and stuff. The combat isn't great, obviously, but it's fine. I didn't really expect much from like a Western RPG from that time period. I mean, like I love Fallout New Vegas, but the combat definitely wasn't one of the reasons why I like it. So yeah, I'm personally really excited for it, and having all the DLC and it being like I guess forward compatible, I guess they're calling it now. For getting more enhancements for the PS5 and Xbox Series X, I think that's also really neat. I don't know where I'm gonna pick it up for. I might just pick it up for PC, but we'll see about that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything else to say.
I mean, my history with Mass Effect is very interesting. I tried to buy it at GameStop, and my mom said no because I had sexual themes or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was pretty troll because fuck GameStop. But anyways, yeah, it's very interesting. Maybe this will give me a chance to actually give the series an actual shot because, like you said, each save carries from one to another. So the fact that it's probably going to be on one collection, and you could just pick the game and go on to the next one and not have to worry about, is my save going to transfer properly? Is my choices going to carry on to the next? Because that seems like a very important factor for this series, and that's gonna be very fun. My phone is not on silent, my bad. But yeah, I'm gonna be very interested to see on how this remaster does in terms of financial sales, because there's so many Mass Effect fans out there. If this sort of collection doesn't do all that well, that's going to be a very worrying sign, because I know that people want another Mass Effect game. So hopefully those fans that want a new one will support this one, because it seems like that BioWare has been working on this one this entire time since Andromeda, maybe. Obviously we don't know that, but yeah, hopefully that this does well and Mass Effect fans get what they want, is another Mass Effect game that isn't like the last one.
yeah, because BioWare hasn't been doing so hot, with Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem, like they've just been kind of not doing hot. So having like a really good Mass Effect game as their next big thing would really help them, because a lot of people don't really have a lot of faith in them anymore. So
I guess their plan C was like, all right, Anthem didn't do so well. Fuck, I guess we just got to remaster Mass Effect,
Basically, it's like easy money, honestly, and and it's just nice to have these games come out in like a modern set of formats. You know what I mean? So And speaking of failures, we got Square Enix reports a 48 million loss following the release of underperforming Marvel's Avengers. So I think this was pretty evident with the fact that the game just got dogged on when it came out. There was a lot of bad press about it even before it came out. With just the
Hmm.
character models, the fact that it's a live service game and not like a story game, or I guess just a single player game. Um, and yeah, all the reviews were right. Like the game just isn't really great. Like the live service aspect really hurts the game, and it's sad too because I think if Crystal Dynamics really made the game into a great single player game, I think it would have been great because a lot of people were saying the campaign is the best part about this game. But just after you beat the story and then you're up to like the live service grind, it just feels so like hollow. Like nothing is really thought out. The loot's really under like whelming. There's monetization everywhere. Like you just can't really abuse a player like that and just assume they're just gonna spend money on the game. Like I
Hmm.
think player like people now know that when a game is taking advantage of them, and this game certainly is doing that when you're making people pay for each character's battle pass, and you have to buy a $60 game also. Like it's just too much, and it really doesn't surprise me that the game is underperforming as much as it is.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, the bad press before the game came out. Well, for one thing, the game's advertisement was through the roof. Like this game is being advertised literally everywhere. It's on like Gum. It's like on like Verizon stuff. Like the amount of advertisement that this game got and the fact that it was still at a loss was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And the bad price itself, I was watching Summit 1G play the beta on
Oh yeah.
PC, and yeah,
Yeah.
that game was just crashing or whatever because like he had like a setting wrong or whatever, and I'm like, this guy probably has like a monster ass PC. Like, how is this happening? And the fact that it is a live service game and not a single player game obviously hurt it too, and it sucks that that aspect of the game literally hurts the game directly as well.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I just think that the first time we saw this game, I mean, just like hearing about a Avengers game sounds exciting. And then the first time we saw the game, it was like, oof, yikes. Like, this is not like what people really expected. It wasn't something that got people really excited for. And that was obviously like a very telling sign for me personally to be like, all right, I should definitely like be wary of whether I should buy this game or not. Because when they announced Spider-Man for PlayStation, I was like, maybe I should buy it. But then I was like, I'll wait for a price drop because that's gonna be a free update either way. So yeah, and we don't know when like the PlayStation 5 version is gonna come out because I'm pretty sure if I am going to buy a version of the game, it's gonna be that one now. Um, but yeah, and I just think that when there's so many examples in the gaming sort of I guess community and like games in general that we've seen where like live service has failed. Obviously Anthem we just talked about and several
Mhm.
other games. I mean like Destiny didn't do so hot at the start and then it sort of ramped up as they added more content and started getting better about it. And then I think Destiny 2 is sort of similar, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that live service games in general, like people just expect like they're not going to be good at the start, but they're going to be better later, which is unfortunate because like it should be good at the start, you know?
Yeah. No, I feel the exact same way. Like I feel like the game should like just be good from the start, and then you make it better. Like just releasing like basically an early access game and just saying, hey, we'll make it better later. It's just not. That's not gonna do it, man.
Hmm.
And I think people dog on live service like too much just because of these bad examples. Like these AAA companies are just like cash grab. It's sort of like when battle royales became really popular or MOBAs, and there were just a ton of different clones of them. Now,
Hmm.
obviously, the ones that are good are gonna stay good. So like League and Dota like stand the test of time because they're just the biggest ones and the most quality of them. And I
Hmm.
think live service games can also get to that point with Destiny. I mean, like most games are live service games. I mean, like Dota and League are technically live service games as well. Just keep adding content, balance patches. So it definitely is a model that could work. You just gotta care for the game. And
Yeah.
things like Marvel's Avengers just feels like a cash grab. Like it feels like, hey, this is the new trendy thing. Let's just do like the looter live service game, even though it makes like no sense as like for Avengers. So also like, it doesn't help again that Crystal Dynamics never really made a game like this. They made the new what do you call them?
Tomb
Tomb Raider
Raider.
games. Yeah, the new Tomb Raider games, and like you can't really expect them to make like a good live service game. They never had that under their belt. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I think Square really like screwed up here. They should just like, hey, make a good single player game, like just like it'll probably make way more money than it is now, and they should have just done that. Like I'm just like baffled to just try to do a live service game with Avengers. It just doesn't really make sense to me, you know? It just feels like such a cash grabby like attitude. And also with all the commercials, like oh buy like 5 gum and you get like a skin. Like all of it feels so gross. I'm like I don't know, man.
Yeah, definitely. Live service games are very popular, but also the biggest difference between Destiny and this game and with like League is that like there's no like sort of paywall to get into it. Like you
You're right.
you just play League on like a goddamn toaster or whatever. But like with these games, you have to, for one, you know, buy the game. And then after that, there's stuff afterwards that you have to buy as well. It does feel a little, you know, sort of like, ooh, like maybe they shouldn't price it at 60 or, you know, have it start at a lower price because, you know, nowadays you could buy, or I think Destiny 2, you could play
Destiny,
it for free, right?
Yeah, Destiny 2 is now free. You just gotta buy like the expansions, which is fine. And even other live service games like Warframe or Path of Exile, those games are also free, and they provide 3 free updates as well. Like the only things you have to pay for is skins, and people would gladly buy those because they feel like the company is, you know, providing them with enough content for free that like a player would like whale the game more because they feel good about it. With Avengers, it's just like, hey, pay $60 and then pay more microtransactions. It just doesn't feel good with like even less content than those games. So yeah, you kind of got like give and take, and I think these games, like you said, do have to be priced either lower or just be free, and then have it be like monetized with like skins or whatever. Like I think that's fine, but them doing like having the cake and eating it too isn't gonna work out for anyone.
Yeah, definitely should have just made this a single player game, in all honesty.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all right, moving on from there is some fake news that was going around, but also something that was actually happening with the Xbox Series X. So the next generation of consoles have launched, and we have seen some Twitter reports of the Xbox Series X doing some interesting things. So first we'll tackle the fake news, which was the fact that the console is smoking. So people were faking this by like having like their vape thing like being next to it or whatever, because like when the Xbox is on, it's blowing a lot of air through the fan, and obviously the air goes through the top. So people were using this as a way to sort of fake it. And yeah, I mean, obviously this spread very fast. The video that I linked has 3.4 million views. But obviously people are not going to see that the fact that it was fake. So what do you think about like this whole like smoking Xbox thing?
I think it's just really easy to like spread misinformation and then it goes everywhere and everyone thinks it's like real. But I mean, it got debunked pretty fast, but still, like, it does show how fast things could spread and just like give things a bad image. You know, and with this case, all that smoke coming out of the Xbox. I'm like, when I first saw it, I'm like, that can't be right. And then I looked and like, yeah, it is fake. Okay. Because I feel like the like such a glaring issue would probably would have been caught in like QA or whatever. So you know, I think it just shows. I mean, yeah, the console. I'm not saying the new consoles aren't gonna have problems. You know, there's been reports that, you know, with the PS5 and Xbox, like, you know, they have issues with bricking and, you know, stuff that you would expect from a new, like a first wave of new consoles. That's always to be expected. But something this like egregious, I'm like, yeah, that probably wasn't gonna get past QA. Like that probably would have been an extra month in the lab there. So yeah, you know, I it's funny, like, you know, it's funny once you know it's fake because you're just vaping into it. But yeah, I would say just, you know, always look out for a source, see if it's real. You know, don't always assume like crazy things like this are actually happening with the stuff. You know. So
Yeah, because definitely when I saw it at first, I was like, "There's no no way that this is actually happening, right? Like, what the hell happened to this guy's Xbox? Like, it's been a day. Like, what did he do?" But yeah, you know, people just spreading misinformation or whatever. But the disk drive, oof. I'm pretty sure this is real. I'm not sure if this has been debunked yet, or oh wait, the tweet that I linked, this guy deleted it. But anyways, the disk drive, I'll try to find another tweet. But pretty much the disk drive is hella loud. I'm not sure if this is with every single Xbox, but when you like put a disc in, it is going to be really goddamn loud. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the case is there, but that just seems like oversight or something. I'm not entirely sure.
It might be like, it could be that consoles really do want to move away from disc at this point, since even with the PlayStation, like, oh, we just have a whole digital version. And I mean, usually I get my games digital, but I'm trying this generation to get them physically again, just because I kind of like having the boxes. I kind of miss it because I only have like 5 PS4 games that are physical. Everything else is digital, and I don't know. I kind of miss having a box, but that's besides the point. I think like consoles are maybe like treating disk drives as like a secondary thing now. Like it's kind of like, oh, you could have it if you want, but since a lot of games you have to install like updates and a bunch of other stuff, like I don't know. It could just be an oversight, or it could just be a defunct. Like I don't know. Again, we're gonna see a lot of weird things with these consoles over the past like week or two, just because it's like the first wave of them. It was made during Corona. You know, there's been a lot of issues this year, so it wouldn't surprise me if some people get some consoles that are a little funky. Again, I'm hoping my PS5 is okay. Hoping your PS5 is okay. I just got my PS5 like literally before we started the podcast. I'm hoping it's okay. But yeah, always be on the lookout for that. And if it is having an issue, just contact Microsoft or Sony, and hopefully they can help.
Yeah, hopefully they'll be able to help you, because trying to contact like the retailer that you bought it from, all they could do is just refund you, which you do not want to do during these times. I looked up the resale price that the PlayStation 5 is going for, and it's definitely double, if not more. I've seen it be sold, the disk drive edition be sold for like 1K. The digital edition sold for like 800, 900. The Series X is also going around for that much, which is kind of crazy, because it seems like that one is sort of like the lesser desired console out of the two when you just look at like Twitter and stuff like that, because people meme about like, hey babe, can you like get me, like the PS5 or whatever, like what do I gotta do, this and that. But yeah, definitely the resale value of these consoles are definitely high, and if you're able to snatch one or get one, you should be extremely grateful. I definitely am. The fact that I was even able to get 2 of them. And by the way, the second one is going to my neighbor. I'm not reselling it. I'm not doing anything like that. And I resold it to him for the price I paid for, which was $543 because of tax. It's $43 in tax, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, definitely extremely grateful that I was lucky enough to even get one to begin with. So... But yeah, going back to the whole, disk drive thing and these consoles doing weird things, like you said, that's definitely going to happen. I think that the disk drive one is definitely very egregious, and I think that should have been like really looked at. I'm not exactly sure if that's just like a few of the consoles, because like that's like a huge thing. It's like, we put a game in, and then it sounds like it's going through the goddamn recycling thing or whatever. It just sounds crazy that was even able to get through. But obviously, like you said, another thing is like, breaking of consoles. Someone at my store, they had to return their PS5, which I don't know why they did that. They returned it because the hard drive wasn't working, which I'm like, why not just like contact Sony? Because like now you're probably out of luck of a PS5, because they're sold out everywhere again. Pre-orders went up at like midnight yesterday or whatever. And those things obviously sold out instantly, and websites were crashing, yada, yada, yada. So yeah.
Yeah, people really want the PS5, if you can tell.
And even the Xbox. The Xbox might be sitting there for an extra 5 seconds, but believe me, people really, really want the Series X and even the Series S if they have to sort of go to that.
Yeah, it's been honestly crazy, and I hate doing it. Usually I like to go physically, like every new console I usually get at GameStop, but with Corona, I'm like, all right, I'll just get it, online, and it's kind of more of a pain in the ass, I'm gonna be honest. Like if they ever release like a new Switch or a Switch Pro or whatever, I'll probably just like get it physically, because I hate like ordering consoles online. So yeah, it's always really annoying.
Ordering consoles online, because it is a little stressful when you're kind of like, all right, is it gonna ship, is it gonna arrive on time? Because like I was definitely feeling that with my first PS5 pre-order, which I got from Walmart. I was like, they didn't send me any emails, like a order confirmation, nothing. They took money out of my credit card, but I was like, is this thing going to arrive? And then when I woke up the day of release, which was yesterday, it said that it was shipped and it was coming to my house. And I was like, okay, cool. With the Target one, which is what me and you both experienced, is that like,
yeah,
it was kind of weird, because at first it was like, it's going to be shipped in its original packaging. And I was like, how the fuck are you going to do that? Like, that just sounds really goddamn troll. And then the other thing was that it was going to come to your house the following week, which I believe that was just like a placement holder because like they didn't know exactly when they were able to ship them out. And it turns out that they got them at the warehouse, I guess, the day of, which is a little weird. So now they are now arriving today, which is the day after November 13th for most people, I would assume. But yeah, new consoles, definitely exciting times. But I understand why they did the whole online thing, which I guess we could just talk about it now with the whole PlayStation launch being online only.
Yeah.
So the reason why they did it was because of Corona, which makes sense. They don't want people lining up and causing huge crowds and whatever to just go and get these consoles, because people want to go and get it physically to go and make sure that they have it. So if you were to go to the store and get it physically, you would have to do a sort of like online pickup service if they have that. So for example, at my job, it was only available through online pickup. So whenever the website went up and you were able to order it and have it be online pickup, you were going to get it at the designated store that you picked within like the next couple of hours or whatever. So yeah, obviously people really did want to go out and get these consoles themselves, line up, do whatever they had to do to go and get one. But, with Corona, the PlayStation and Microsoft both, I guess, agreed to be like, all right, let's just do it online only, which once again makes sense. But I could understand why people were upset about that.
Yeah. Again, it's just weird times. I mean, I think they did the responsible thing by making it online only because, like COVID's only getting worse every day, unfortunately. So
especially in the US, yes.
Yeah, especially in the US, it's been pretty bad. So I think it was the more responsible move to make it only online this year. Because again, it's been a crazy year. I think people have to understand that, give people some leeway. This is all new things. We're not really used to doing everything online for like every single thing, including console launches. So yeah, just be patient. Like if you bought a console, you're probably gonna get it. It just might take a while. I was sad I didn't get my PS5 at launch day, but I got it the next day. So it really isn't that big of a deal. So yeah, just be patient. It will come, and just remember this is the safe way to do it. If you're lining up in Best Buy or GameStop with a bunch of people, that'd just be a big risk for like everyone involved. So yeah, again, I think this was the responsible move they did. It's just it could be a little annoying, but that's just how the world is right now.
Yeah, and definitely the cases in the U.S. are going up because of the recent election. People were lining up really close to each other, not 6 feet, and having to wait on super long lines. People are gonna get reckless and take off their masks and things like that. I'm not gonna get into it, but that's probably one of the main sort of reasons why the cases are going up. But yeah, definitely very responsible for both companies to sort of be like, it's going to be online only. And for my store, the electronics department knew about the online stuff way before PlayStation and Microsoft even announced it. So yeah, and the people that were working there, one of our friends, John, he was like, what the hell is Xbox doing? Like, why is it online only? And then when PlayStation came out with their announcement, they're like, oh, okay, like that makes sense now. So, it being online only, obviously they probably got some really like mean and rude customers over the phone or in person or whatever. But yeah, I was definitely working back there just to like cover some breaks, and people were like, someone called and they were like, so like, what's the deal with the PlayStation 5 launch? And I was like, well, it's going to be all online, this and that. So, and that person was very respectful about it. And then I think like a couple minutes later, someone actually walked up to me and asked about the Xbox launch. And I'm pretty sure told them the same thing, online only because COVID. But yeah, online stuff is just the way it is right now because of COVID.
Yeah, it's difficult times, but we'll get through it, hopefully.
All right, so enough of us rambling about all that stuff. Let's get into our recent activities. What have we been doing the past 2 weeks? So I got a list again. So I'll let you go first because we're going to do Attack on Titan spoilers at the end. So
yes, we are. So I don't have a lot. I've mostly been waiting for the PS5, to play a bunch of things. So I've been mostly keeping it chill. I beat No More Heroes 2 since I beat No More Heroes 1 in the last podcast. And I think it's really good. I honestly think there's a lot of improvements here. Graphically, the game looks way better. It's actually crazy that this is like still on the Wii technically. Like the character models look so much better than it did in No More Heroes 1. And I don't even think it was that long of a gap. I think it was like 2-3 years between No More Heroes 1 and 2. I can't remember. I think it was 3 years. But yeah, like the animations and just like the character models in general just look so much better. I think the combat was also like improved upon. You know, you have like this gauge where you could fill it up when you kill more enemies and don't get hit, and you go into like the super fast mode and just kill a bunch of enemies. Just like, again, the combat in general just feels more smooth. You could switch between different blade katanas, even though you would never switch out the dual blade one because that one is amazing. I still think the bosses were fun and creative. Playing as the other characters, you can play as Shinobu and you can play as Henry, I think, for like a level. But there were fun, sort of like refreshing little things you could play because you're always playing as Travis, so it's nice to play as a different character. Even though Shinobu's like platforming is very very clunky, but it was still kind of fun. The music is really good. I don't think I had to talk about the music in the first game, but it was also extremely good. And I can say
Hmm.
the same exact thing for this game. It was fantastic music. Um, but overall, yeah, I think gameplay wise it's better. But I feel like the overall feel of it, I feel like No More Heroes 1 has a better overall feel, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like this game goes a little too zany. Like, it's a lot more crazy than the first one, and I feel like it kind of loses something. Since I don't think Suda actually produced it. Like, I know he was like in the game, but he didn't really he wasn't as involved in this game as he was in the first one. So I feel like it lost a little something just because he wasn't as involved in this game as he was in the first game. So
Hmm.
I'm hoping to get that feel back in No More Heroes 3. But again, I think No More Heroes 2 was an improvement on almost every way except like I guess that general feel that Suda would bring into that into the series, I guess. But yeah, overall, I thought it was a great game. They took out all the filler basically. Like there was never a time where I felt like I had to grind for money for like anything. All like the training you could do is like super cheap. The blade katanas really aren't expensive, and it is you only buy like two of them, so because the other two I think you just get. So that you don't really have to grind for money at all. You don't have to grind for money to actually go progress the story, which is really nice since that was a big issue. Like this game, I think took me 7 hours, while No More Heroes 1 took me about 12 hours. So yeah, and all that time was basically just grinding. Since while the grinding, yeah, the games are pretty short, which is fine. Like I'm okay with shorter games, honestly. Um, but yeah, I think the game is just overall an improvement from one in like most ways. So I'm very excited to see what they do in No More Heroes 3 and how they evolve like the combat and like the story and all that stuff. So yeah, I was a big fan of No More Heroes 2 and just the series in general. I'm probably gonna pick up not No More Heroes. What is it? Travis Strikes Again at some point. I know it's not really
Yeah.
necessary. It's a spin-off, but I would like to play it as well. Probably get it on sale at some point if it's ever on sale. Cause yeah, I am now a big fan of the series. I can't wait for No More Heroes 3, which is hopefully still coming out next year, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
All right. So and the last thing, because again I haven't really been doing much the past 2 weeks, is been watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, not the other one, because I believe the other one wasn't even finished and it was made like a few years before this one. Again, I'm not too sure. Everyone just says watch Brotherhood, so I'm like okay. um. And yeah, this series is like super acclaimed. Like this is like everyone always talks about Full Metal Alchemist. I believe it's still at the top of my anime list as like the top one anime. I believe
Yeah.
like it's super highly regarded, and I'm about halfway. I'm like episode 34 out of like 60, and yeah, I can see why it is really good. I think this series does like world building again really well. Like it really explains like alchemy and how it works, all the different countries, and I love that shit. Like I
Hmm.
love when like games or shows like Avatar. Avatar does a good job really explaining like bending and all its different nations and their cultures, and Fullmetal Alchemist does that as well. And I just love that. It really makes the world feel like alive. All the characters are really likable, and the show actually does a good job sort of like splitting the protagonists. Like you follow Edward like a lot because he's the main character, but I think it does a good job showing you like other branches of like all the other characters. Like there's like the army people you follow a lot. There's another group of characters that you follow a lot, like the villains you follow a lot and see what their motives are. And I think that's really good for like fleshing out the characters in the world and like their motivations. And it still has a bunch of mystery and conspiracies and all that good stuff that I love about anime. The fight
Hmm.
scenes are amazing. I believe it's animated by Bones, which made My Hero. That animated My Hero, I should say. And
Hmm.
yeah, like the fight scenes are really good. Like the way they use alchemy again, it's super flashy. A lot of cool moves going on. A lot more like melee type combat than I expected. I expected more like magical type like stuff flying everywhere, but it is like a lot of like hand-to-hand combat. But yeah, the show is really good. I'm halfway through it, and I can't wait to see the rest of it. I can't really say much else without spoiling it, without getting my thoughts, after I finish it. But yeah, I'm excited to see how the ending is, because again, this is a highly regarded anime, so I really want to see why. I mean, I'm starting to pick up why, but I want to really see how great it is. So yeah, I've been enjoying that, and that's about it.
Yeah, you want to see the full reason, exactly.
Of course, yeah. I always want to watch the full series before it's like I say it's like, yeah, this is amazing. I mean, Attack on Titan, but I still want to see how that I still want to see how that show ends before I definitively say, yeah, this thing is amazing. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Hunter x Hunter, not to brag, but they also do world building and explaining.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
I
stuff.
do want to watch Hunter. That might be my next one after Full Metal Alchemist. Honestly.
Yeah, Hunter x Hunter's a big boy, so maybe it's a good idea you did start with Full Metal Alchemist. I'm probably gonna start on that soon. Gonna be honest.
Yeah, it's 60 episodes, so it isn't like it's beefy, but not that beefy. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so what have I been doing? TFT. Recently when I played, I lost pretty much every game, but it's okay. I was playing with Kofi, so I was having fun. Still doing the stupid brawler hunter BS. Just people stealing my comp. It's actually happening now because last episode no one was really contesting me, but I guess people found out. So, but yeah, I've just been goofing around on that. I think I played one game of Valorant and I was straight up inting, but it was fine. We were playing unrated. No More Heroes. So the one day I had off, I don't know why I woke up at like 5 a.m. because I was so tired from work. I fell asleep at like 7-8 p.m. So then I woke up at like 5-6 a.m.
I feel that. Yeah.
So then I was like, shit, what do I do? So then I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna start No More Heroes because I moved because of the PS5. I have no room in my entertainment center, so I moved my Wii U upstairs to my room to my old TV at my old setup. So I started playing No More Heroes, and thank God I could choose to have the Wii emulator be played on the gamepad because my audio for my TV shot. So I just have the audio go through the gamepad, and just play like that. And yeah, No More Heroes is fun. I can see why people say it's grindy because like after I beat the first like boss or whatever, I had to like grind for like an hour to like get to the next one because I'm like I need money. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm just doing these missions, and some of them I'm doing like over and over again, but it's okay because I was like listening to the Trash Taste podcast. I was just re-listening to episodes because I just love listening to them just like bullshit or whatever. So yeah, No More Heroes 1, I only got up to where I was before. Maybe I'll play more. I'm not entirely sure just because, now I have the PS5, so that might take a backseat once again. And speaking of the PS5, Spider-Man Miles Morales, not going to say anything because I know Damien hasn't played it yet, so I don't want to give away anything. But I played it. Took me like 7-8 hours. I really liked it. Really, really, really fun. More in-depth thoughts for me personally will come out next week when I do my video review, and probably sometime sooner is like my written article that I'll post on Medium. And then next episode, me and Damien will 100% talk about Miles Morales Spider-Man along with the remaster if we get to it. We probably might finish it, maybe not. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll try to talk about it and talk about the Peter Parker model and our thoughts on it once we actually get to play it. And then anime and other stuff. So Haikyuu still is hype. Really, really fun shonen anime to continue watching every week. Noblesse, I shat on it last week and I'm still gonna shit on it today. Honestly, like it's getting a little better, but I'm just like, man, like this show, like I still don't know exactly what's going on within the world. I don't know how the powers work. I don't know a lot of stuff of what's going on, other than like this guy's a vampire. I think there's like monsters. They use drugs to like get stronger. I don't know. Like stuff's just happening, and I'm just watching it. I might drop it. I'm not entirely sure. I might just finish it and just be like, it's a 2 out of 10 show, the worst webtoon show that they've made so far. But who knows? It could get better. That's why I'm still sticking around with it. But most of the time with these like webtoon shows, like about like halfway through, like they sort of like decline in quality. Like God of High School 100% did, but that show was like kind of weird because like it was super fast paced, and like each episode, like it was literally just a entire tournament arc, but like they didn't take time with the tournament fights. Like fights would end like almost instantly. And then with Tower of God, I'm not entirely sure what it was, but it just didn't feel like all of that new, or like there wasn't like a hook for me to like get super into it. But Noblesse is definitely just like, I don't even know what the hell is going on. Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm definitely behind the Jujutsu Kaisen hype train. This show is really, really fun to watch. As a sort of newer shonen, it sort of feels like My Hero, where it's like it has studied other shonens and know what to do within this shonen in particular. But this one has like demons and like the guys in high school again, like I said the last episode.
Always.
And the characters are funny. There's a lot of charm and sort of character there for each character. And yeah, it's just a fun show that I really like watching every single week. The Demon Slayer manga. So last time I talked about it, I read one volume of the pretty much the train arc, which is the movie. And since then, I went from volume 7 to now volume 14 that I've read all. So I'm like really, really far ahead. And you could consider me a manga reader for Demon Slayer now. But I will eventually catch up to where the English sort of mangas are, because I'm not gonna read the rest online. I'm honestly just gonna wait for them to be released in volumes. So hopefully no one spoils it for me by then. But so far so good. I'm really liking it. I think season 2 of the anime is gonna be extremely hype. Cannot wait to watch the movie because I think the stuff that happens in the movie is also pretty cool. So yeah, I'm just a huge Demon Slayer fanboy, if I can say that much, because honestly, like volume 14, like I didn't even read it during like my work break, because like that's how I'm able to read so much of it, is just by like during like my 45-minute break I would just like read like pretty much half or 3/4 of a volume, and then like go home and then just like read the rest. But like for volume 14, I literally just like read it all at home because I was just like, why not? So and then Attack on Titan. So season 3, pretty sure most of it I watched with Kofi, because we just coincidentally just happened to be on like the same episodes, because like I stopped watching it for a bit, and then like he binged watched like most of season 2 or whatever, and then like at a certain point we just like started watching it like together, I guess, which was fun because season 3 is very interesting. So by the way, spoilers, we're going to talk about spoilers because I think that the show is very interesting, and it's kind of hard to talk about what happens without spoiling stuff.
Basically,
so yeah, if you don't want to hear that Attack on Titan spoiler talk, skip to the PlayStation news that we will talk about. But yeah, Attack on Titan season 3 part 1 and 2. So first up, I want to know, like, where do you rank the seasons?
I love season 3 the most. Honestly, if I put season 3, 2, and 1 like that, like just like yeah, so that's my ranking. Season 3 first, season 2 second, and then season 1 third.
Okay, which part's better, part 1 or part 2?
Oh, which part's better? Probably part 2. Yeah.
Okay, so pretty much you're just saying the show gets better and better as it keeps going. Okay.
I believe so. Yes.
All right. I mean, me personally, where did I rank them on my stupid anime list? So like honestly, season 3 part 1, I wasn't too hot on. I'm gonna be honest, because like the first episode with like Levi like killing those dudes, I was like, all right, this shit's fucking hype. Like, oh my god, like I'm into it again. And then like the rest of season 3 part 1, I was just kind of like meh on it. I don't know. It was just, a lot of like politics and them just like talking about like what is right for like the country, I guess, or like what's going on with like the walls or whatever. But part 2 of season 3 definitely like picked it up, and I think that that's where like the show sort of brings it back. But I don't know, man. Season 1, when I was just watching it, I was just like, man, like what the hell? Like these like surprise moments, these like fights, like everything about season 1 is still like top tier for me. So I would definitely rank it number 1, and then I guess season 3 part 2, then season 2, then season 3 part 1. That's just me personally, so don't kill me in the comments if you're listening. But yeah, I mean, like the one moment in season 3 part 2 that like really like sort of like shocked me and Kofi was during like the flashback sequences where they were like explaining on how like the Titans sort of like came to be in like what was in the basement, because like the entire show is about like what's in the basement, and then we finally get there. I was like, pog, let's go. And then, it's like a couple of episodes of like lore episodes. That's what Kofi called it. It's like, Resident Sleeper lore episodes. Here we go. But when that guy mentioned Armin and Mikasa, I was like, wait, what the fuck? And then he was like, I don't even know who those people are. I was like, wait a minute. Like, what is going on here? So like, what was your like reaction to that as well, I guess?
So like the whole basement stuff, I was just blown, because literally the show just opens up into an entirely different show now, since you learn that yeah, it's just one country in a big world. They're not, like humanity isn't being attacked by Titans. It's more like they're like sort of like in their own prison, if that makes sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
those people in the show, everyone there is basically a Titan or like that different race of people, and they're technically in war with like people that can't turn into Titans, if that makes sense. So like Eren and everyone in the group of people, everyone in the show basically has like Titan blood in them. That's why they're able to, if they get injected with that stuff, they could turn into a Titan. But those normal people in the other side of that other country can't do that. So yeah, that like just blew my mind. I'm like, what is happening? There's like a whole country. There's war. There's like not like like it just completely flipped the whole show around. And if you watch the season 4 trailer, it's like a completely different show now. It's like just a war now. I'm like, what is going on? I think that's so cool that the show totally flipped on what it is. And like the show just got so much bigger. Like you're not dealing with Titans anymore. You're just dealing with people now. Like they're like the actual threat. Usually things do that. It's like, oh, the supernatural thing isn't the issue anymore. It's actual people. But I don't know. I think it did it really well. And those lore episodes, I love them because it really goes into like everything like that the show like built up from. Like explain like all the other Titans you saw from season 1 were actually like his like Aaron's, or who was his dad? I forgot. There was a lot of things, right?
Yeah,
There
was
were like
grandpa or great grandpa. I don't even know.
yeah. I think it was like his granddad or something. Like his like sort of friends that were turned into Titans and pushed off the wall. Like those were all from in season 1. So like that was really cool that he he brought that back. Like that smiling Titan that killed his mom was his like dad's, or his it was his dad's first wife, I think. Again, it gets really complicated, but I thought all that world building and stuff was super cool in the show that I really thought had really good world building. That all that stuff was like just ingenious to me. And again, with him saying about like Mikasa and Armin, like I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like there's just a lot more questions still. And that's good. I like it when a show, like the show revealed so much to you, but you still have like so many questions, like what, but also like, oh, that makes sense now. And I think that's a really cool feeling that I never really got before. Like I know people were really hyping up the basement even before I watched it. I'm like, man, what, like something in there has to just change the whole show, and it really did. I'm like, it completely changed the genre of the show, and I think that's just super neat. I don't know. Yeah, but just yeah, the second half. Sorry, I'm just rambling.
Yeah. Keep going.
The second half of of season 3 was just amazing. Even before the basement, just the whole fight with the Beast Titan, Armored, and Colossal Titan was just amazing. Like I remember watching when Levi cut down the Beast Titan. It was like 4 a.m. and I just screamed, "Let's go!" I was so hyped. That Levi absolutely decimating the Beast Titan was like probably the most hype thing I've ever saw in my life. It was amazing. And again, what I love about this show is, yeah, there's some trump card moments, but usually someone like has to like pay a big price for it. Like I guess the only Deus Ex Machina in this show, actually there's two. When Eren just screamed and all the Titans sort of like sort of attacked the other Titan from season 2, I think. That was kind of like a Deus Ex like power up move. And when Armin Armin was burnt to a crisp, and then he just brought him back.
And then he was still alive. I was like, huh?
Yeah, so those were the only two like sort of like moments like that. But besides that, the show usually does a good job being like, yeah, they won at the end, but everyone's dead. Like,
yeah.
And I thought they did a good job with that in season 3 part 2 with Levi was able to attack, and well, he didn't kill the Beast Titan, but he did most. He stumps now. But the commander died. Like basically all the scouts are dead. It's only really them. So I think it really does show that there's still a big price to pay every time they do like have a victory. And I thought, yeah, in the first part of season 3, I mean, I liked it, but yeah, it is a lot. It is very different. And I know a lot of people say in the manga, they actually said the anime did it way better than the manga. Apparently, like people said in the manga it was like not that great, but they made it a bit better. It's different. And I can understand why people wouldn't like it that much, but I liked it for what it was. It was, more political, more about the people. I thought it did some cool things with like, what's her face, Historia's like dad and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I can understand why people wouldn't like it as much because it is very different from what the rest of the series is. But yeah, I still found it enjoyable. But yeah, what are your more of your thoughts?
I
Sorry.
mean, the whole like nah, it's okay. Krista slash Historia's like
Yeah.
character and her backstory, I found that to be very interesting. Like that was definitely a very shining part of season 3, part 1.
Yeah.
Like just like watching on how that played out and like what like I guess her dad did to her and her family, and I was just like, what is going on here? Like, what the fuck? You did this? Like, what? But yeah, and then like her plan to like sort of regain power was to be the one to do the finishing blow on the Titan to show the people that, hey, I am fit to sort of, I guess, rule you guys or whatever. So yeah, I definitely liked her character. You know, she was best girl in the show without a doubt. By the way, just kidding. Mikasa,
I like
like
his story.
it's kind of hard, you know, because like Mikasa is just like she
Simp.
just does shit, and she's a simp, so it's just like she's good on the field and then she just simps for Aaron. I'm like, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, season 3 part 2 is definitely a lot of just like what is going on here. Like when Armin was like he could be hiding in the walls and then Reiner just popped out. Like I was literally like sitting back in my chair. Me and Kofi had a cams on. I was literally sitting back and then he popped out. I was sitting up like super close. I was like, like what is going on? So yeah, definitely the surprise moments of this show are definitely like the highlights, I would say, because like those are definitely the most memorable moments without a doubt. Because you know, season 1, just going back to that, like when it was revealed that like Aaron could turn into a Titan and that like people could turn into Titans in general, like I was just like, oh, okay, so that's like why this show is so interesting and why people really do like this show, and also you know the action, the animation, all that stuff. But yeah, definitely season 3 part 2 just like a lot of stuff was just like happening and I was just like, okay, I guess that explains that, but like you said, there's still like a lot more questions as to what is going to happen, and hopefully the final season will be able to sort of explain all that, because you know the manga readers will be like, it will be super duper good. So yeah, I guess we have yet to, I guess, experience peak Attack on Titan, which is kind of weird to say because the show is already so good as is. But the Armin turning into a Titan or whatever, and eating what's his name?
Bertolt or whatever his name
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
Bert, whatever the hell his name is, Bernie. I mean, I kind of saw that coming because you know I saw the season 4 poster and I saw Armin was on it and I was like, oh, this moment in the show is kind of ruined by myself, so I can't really blame it on the show. But I was just like, man, like it was really in between Armin, who doesn't do shit on the field, and the commander, and I was like, that's like the most like sort of like bipolar sort of like choice you have to make there, and no matter what choice you make, there's gonna be someone upset on the other side. So
I guess it's because I mean, they were sort of leading up to it where the commander, like, yeah, he wanted to see like what was in the basement, like that was his whole goal in life, but he also
mhm,
felt like he killed too many people to really deserve it. And with Armin, like this showed like, hey, he's you know, he's more like he could grow to be more of a technical like genius than he could be if he like grew up some more. So I think that's
mhm,
sort of like kind of leading up to like Armin being more of a like a tactician than like, you know, because obviously in combat he's not gonna do much, you know. I think
mhm.
everyone knows that, but he's a very smart boy. So like they could be like, okay, he could probably be like sort of like the next sort of like tactician that could help like win this war. So they probably thought, okay, it'd probably be better for him to get the Titan power and to come back to life. So yeah, I didn't have an issue with that decision because I also felt like the commander's arc was kind of over. Like they kind of like, you know, they did a lot with him. And I really liked
Mhm.
his character, but I felt like they couldn't really do much more with him. While Armin, they could do a lot more with him. So yeah, that's probably why they did that. So I don't really have an issue with that. But
Yeah, I didn't
yeah,
either. All I'm saying is that at the end of season 1, I was like, that guy's gonna die. So, and I knew it. So yeah, but like you said, you definitely made some good points about like his arc being over, and you know Armin getting that sort of Titan power. Then later on, us finding out that literally all of them have the ability to become a Titan as long as they get that serum. Oh, by the way, in season 3, part 1, when like Historia like goes against her father's wishes from being a Titan and sort of like knocks the canister out and like it breaks, I was like, oh, okay, let's fucking go. And then like
yeah.
the dad like takes one lick of it and then like becomes like that big ass Titan. I was like, wait, he's that big and he just licked it? Like,
I think it was because I think the reason that happened was because I think it just messed up. Like maybe if you like take the injection wrong, it just mutates him into like some weird abomination. That's what I got from that. Because I feel like if you put it directly in your bloodstream, maybe it would like be normal. But he kind of just like started licking it from the ground. So I'm like maybe that messed it up. I'm not really too sure because he became like a giant slug monster. So yeah.
Yeah, it was just that so funny. Like after that moment, Kofi was just like, man, like imagine if he took the whole thing. I was like,
Yeah.
my God, yeah. But definitely, overall, like I obviously me and Damien both really enjoyed the show.
Oh, yeah.
Probably Damien a little more.
Fucking loved it.
But yeah, I really like Attack on Titan, and I cannot wait for it to start up again less than a month from now. Like that is kind of crazy because yeah, I know that I recently just found out that there was like a 4-year gap between season 1 and 2, which I'm like 4 years? That's crazy. Like if I had to wait 4 years for Demon Slayer, I would wait obviously because I know what's gonna happen already. But Jesus Christ, like that is a very long time. But the final season's gonna happen soon, and I cannot wait for all that to happen. So.
Yeah, I loved it. I still feel like Attack on Titan is probably my favorite anime at the moment. I'm gonna wait until it's finished, obviously, because I think people have been burned by like Game of Thrones and other shows that like ended horribly. So I'm just gonna wait until it's over. Then I can say, hey, this is like probably my favorite anime. So yeah, I just really liked it. I think it does a lot of things well, and I just really enjoy it. And I'm not alone on that, obviously. Like, if you're not watching Attack on Titan just because it's overrated, I say give it a try because it's very good. There's a reason why it's so loved and overrated. It's because it is good. So yeah, definitely watch it. Definitely worth a try. Even if you're not into anime, I think it's super good. So yeah, definitely recommend that.
Yeah, definitely. Give it a shot because I definitely was like, man, this thing's like really like highly praised, and like a lot of people were like clamoring about it, like, yo, this is a really good anime, and I was like, is it though? So when you were like clamoring about it, I was like, all right, I guess I'll give it a shot, and then me and Kofi fell for it obviously, so it is pretty good. It's a pretty good shonen, if you will. So
also the show's technically a mech anime because like Aaron like rides a meat mech, so so yeah, got him. You're enjoying a mech anime asshole.
I guess I am. So let's get into the PlayStation news real quick. We got two articles. The first one kind of broke out 2 weeks ago, right after we released the episode, and it is about PS5 faceplates. So there was this, I guess, company or seller was trying to sell people, custom PlayStation 5 plates because, it was revealed that you can take the plates off and, swap them out, do, really cool things with it. So this guy was like, oh, okay, I guess I could, sort of take advantage of this and, sort of make a buck over it, making customized faceplates. So Sony was like, you're not doing that. So they took legal action. Well, first up, the website was called PlateStation5.com, which was not subtle at all. So they had to rebrand to CustomizeMyPlates.com.
That's an amazing name, though.
Yeah,
I love that.
PlateStation 5, like, it's pretty simple. It's pretty clean. But obviously Sony was like, no. That's like, what's that thing called? Trademark infringement that they said in this article. So I'm like, okay, whatever. And then, customize my plates. But they were like, no, you can't do custom face plates, period. And then they were like, all right, I guess we're just going to sell skins like everyone else. So, I mean, it just seems interesting because there were definitely a lot of people on Twitter that were vocal on both sides where it was like, oh, like he's just trying to, sort of give people a way to have, a really cool faceplate for their PlayStation. And then there were other people that were like, well, he didn't take like the, official like legal matters of doing it, going to Sony and being like, hey, is it okay if I do this? Me personally, if someone's trying to make a quick buck off of a multi-million-dollar company, I'm not going to, defend the multi-million-dollar company, But at the same time, he definitely should have, thought about the actual, like, legal sort of repercussions of doing it like that. So, it is what it is. I guess Saudi might do their own custom plates, or maybe they just don't want people making custom plates in general. Who knows? So.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. They showed it as a feature, and now they're like punishing people for like making like a thing out of it. Like I don't really get why. Like I guess like, no, only we could do it though. Like you could change the plates, but only we could do it. Like that's weird.
Yeah, definitely seems a little strange. I mean, people could, skins are pretty harmless. Yeah,
That's true.
it's just a big ass sticker you slap on your PlayStation. So, and people have been doing skins forever, since like I guess the Xbox PlayStation 3 era, skins. I remember I had a skin on my Wii. It was goddamn Naruto. And same thing for the Xbox. I think it was also Naruto or whatever, but people will buy skins because they think they look cool, and then they realize years later they're like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Why did I do that?
Kind of cringe, bro.
But yeah, I mean, custom faceplates. Maybe Sony will sell official ones with like PlayStation characters on them, because if they sell one with Spider-Man on it, I'm all in on that shit.
Oh yeah, if there's like a Miles one, I would probably buy that because I love
Yeah.
that. I just want it to be black, honestly. Like PlayStation.
But also they could just be like, saving that for like exclusive faceplate for like a console edition or whatever, like maybe like the next God of War, it has like this custom, PlayStation 5 faceplate on it. Who knows? So yeah, but that's obviously not gonna stop from like eBay China sellers from like making their own custom faceplates, and who knows what that will do to your PlayStation 5,
Yeah. Maybe that's why they also don't want people to do it, because they're like afraid it's gonna break people's consoles, and then they're gonna go to Sony and be like, hey, my PlayStation 5 isn't working. Well, why is that happening? And then say, hey, are you using custom faceplates? It's like, yeah, well, that's your issue. So, yeah, I don't know if maybe that's why. Again, maybe it could just be that greedy and just want to sell their own. I don't really know. But I still think it's cool regardless. The PS5 has custom faceplates. I never used the feature. Like I know the 3DS had you could change like the front plate in some of them.
Yeah, on the new
yeah,
3DS or whatever.
Yeah, I forget which 3DS because it's like a billion of them. But yeah, I think it's a cool feature to add like personality to your PS5. But I don't know. I might keep it the same, honestly. But well, we'll see about that.
Yeah, depending on how much they are and whether they are actually going to sell them or not. So
yeah,
we're just going to have to wait and see, because, Sony being very, very sort of like legal action about it sort of speaks volumes more than the actual, I guess, action itself or whatever. Actions speak louder than words. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say here.
All right. So yeah, remember when Sony said you couldn't like transfer your saves to like Spider-Man Remaster? Well, they said psych, and now you can actually transfer your save to the Spider-Man Remaster, and there would be new suits for the PS4 version around Thanksgiving. And now, are those skins in the PS5 Remaster already, or?
Okay,
like...
so yes, these skins, if you get the Ultimate Edition, which I assume you have right next to you.
Yes, I do.
These skins are already on the game, I believe. I believe you unlock them like straight from the beginning or whatever. So
okay.
pretty much what Insomniac is doing, they're kind of backtracking on what they said before, and they're giving the PlayStation 4 users of this game the skins, and on top of that, be able to export your save from the PS4 version to the remaster. And this update is going to be given out around Thanksgiving, which to anyone that is not in the US or forgets when Thanksgiving is, that is around November 26th. So a couple weeks from now. So my opinion on this is that, I mean, it's good for like consumers and people that actually want to not replay the whole game again, because personally I'm going to replay the
me too.
Remastered again, because why not? Just because I love this game so much and I want to experience it fully with its 60 frames per second, 4K resolution, all that good stuff. But, to people that don't want to do that and sort of just like want to, swing around or, finish their 100% completion run or whatever the case may be, I'm sure that that's going to like affect trophies in some way or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's just Insomniac trying to be as friendly as possible, because Insomniac games already, like when it comes to Spider-Man, they've done a lot for Spider-Man. Like they gave us the Raimi suit, they gave us the Into the Spider-Verse suit. There's also a couple of other suits in the Miles Morales game that are pretty cool as well. But yeah, they've just done so much for Spider-Man, Peter Parker, and Miles Morales respectively, and it's just like, them doing this as well is just nice to see.
Yeah, it really shows that. I mean, if anyone's been watching this podcast for the last like how many years we've been doing this, I love Insomniac. They're very important dev to me. I love them, and seeing them put so much care into like my childhood hero being Spider-Man, that's like, oh, it's amazing. Like they put a lot of care into the 2018 game. They're constantly adding suits and stuff. And now with they sort of backtrack what they said by they could add the suits to the PS4 game with save transfers. I think it really shows that they really listen to the player base and see how they feel. I mean, obviously not about Peter's face because people are just being toxic about it. But I feel like for everything else, like they've been really like nice to like all the consumers of this game because like if you bought that game, they want to make sure they actually like your voice is heard and that you will get the content that that's in the other version. So I think that's really neat. And yeah, I'm looking for. I mean, I'll probably transfer my save, but I'm just gonna play the whole game again anyway because I kind of want to. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and unlike you, I haven't played it since 2018. Well, that's a lie. I haven't played it since the last DLC, but you know what I mean. I haven't played the
Mm-hmm.
base game since 2018, so I'm very excited to play it with the new 60 FPS and like all the other enhancements on the PS5. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, I definitely overplayed that game a shit ton over the past year just because why not? So, but yeah, I'm definitely very excited to jump back into that one whenever the FedEx guy comes in because that's where my Ultimate Edition is. Because I bought the launch edition at my job because I was like, I'm not gonna wait till tomorrow to play this game because I know that I can probably finish it in the time that it takes between now and then, and I did. So there's that, but. Insomniac Games once again being very friendly to the Spidey community, despite them like they probably get harassed so much on Twitter just because of bullshit or whatever. And Insomniac Games reiterated that the only way to get the remaster as of right now is to either get the Ultimate Edition, and then if you buy the PS4 Miles Morales game, there is a way to upgrade it for $20 to the Ultimate Edition, which pretty much makes the remastered of Spider-Man $20. And people want a upgrade from the PS4 to the PS5 remaster. Personally, I don't think that that's really all that necessary just because the game has sold millions of copies before. I've said this on previous episodes, but the game has already sold millions of copies. The reason why it's bundled in with the Miles Morales game is because they want you to buy the Miles Morales game so they could boost those numbers. They aren't worried about the remaster of Miles Morales or the remastered of the PS4 game. They're worried about Miles Morales selling well, which the game is probably going to sell well because when I was working yesterday, I've seen multiple customers bring up to me like, hey, I paid for this in the back and it was a copy of Miles Morales, whether it was on the PS5 or the PS4. And I was like, hey, you going to play that tonight? They're like, yeah, man, pretty excited, this and that. But yeah, the game was going to sell really highly regardless. But to those people that just want to play the Peter Parker Spider-Man in this remastered 60 frames per second PS5 version, you're going to have to go and get the Miles Morales edition, which is unfortunate. But at the same time, you're getting a badass Miles Morales game on top of it. So there's not much complaining there. But like I said, just to sort of TLDR this is just a financial sort of strategy move by Sony to make sure that Miles Morales sells as many copies as possible. So a week from now, when you see them post an article about, hey, the game has sold however millions of copies, it's because of also them bundling it with the remaster. But also, Miles Morales as a character is just really popular now, and the game has been looking really good up until its release. But that's my long-winded sort of rant about why they aren't allowing you to upgrade it or why it's not being sold separately. So what are your thoughts on it being, sort of locked behind this Ultimate Edition?
I just see it as more like a bonus. Like, if you play the PS4 version, it's not gonna be like, obviously the 60 frames and like the way to play the remaster is nice. But I feel like it's more like I'm starting to treating it more as a bonus if you buy Miles than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Also, sort to like offset like, hey, Miles is a shorter game, so here's the remaster, so you feel like you get more bang for your buck, I guess. And I think that's fine. I mean, I think maybe in the future they might make it a separate thing. It wouldn't surprise me if we see like next year, like, hey, you can just buy the remaster like separately. Again, I think it is more to boost Miles numbers or to feel more justified in paying like the $70 for Miles because we like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, here's the base game with all its DLCs. So and that's a lot longer than Miles is. So
Mm-hmm.
and it's also good for people that never played Spider-Man on the PS4. So yeah, I'm just treating it as a bonus, honestly. Like I'm gonna play it again because I love Spider-Man on PS4. But as I'm seeing it right now, I'm just seeing it as a bonus. Like, if you're getting the PS5, you're gonna get Miles anyway, so you might as well just throw the extra like $20 for the Ultimate Edition and get the remaster.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anyone that's just like, hey, I'm getting the PS5 and I just want to play Spider-Man on the PS4. Like no, like you're probably gonna get Miles because that's like the newer thing anyway. So yeah, I don't know. I like maybe they're entitled to for a pay upgrade. I don't really know. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if they do that in the future, but I highly doubt it. I think just get Miles. I think I think it's gonna be worth the price anyway.
Yeah.
And yeah, that does basically my thoughts. Just get Miles.
Definitely, because what's it called? Lost my thought once again. God damn it. But yeah, I just think that people are, getting really like sort of comfortable with like game developers being really, really, really nice to them. The fact that Insomniac Games even backtracked it was like, all right, you can transfer your saves. We're gonna add these suits to the PS4 version as well, etc. Yeah, I just think that eventually it will be on the PlayStation Store for purchase for like $20 or $30, however they decide to price it, because the way the Ultimate Edition works is that the remaster is on a voucher code, and that voucher code has an expiration date. So eventually it is going to expire, and there's going to be no way for you to purchase it. But obviously Sony wants that money, and they're going to put it up on the store for purchase separately. But until then, it's going to be locked behind this Ultimate Edition, which makes sense. So yeah.
Plus, I wouldn't worry about the code expiring because it expires in 2024. So,
hopefully by then we will get a sort of separate release digitally or even physically. Because honestly, I would not mind owning another copy of this game just because I love it so much.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, literally. Later today, I'm going to have 2 copies of Miles Morales on the PlayStation 5 because I didn't want to wait for the Ultimate Edition to come in the mail. What am I going to do with the second copy? I'm just going to keep it just for like collector's purposes, because now I have the regular launch edition and now I have the Ultimate Edition. So first 2 games on my PS5 are the same fucking games. So call me crazy, but is there anything else you'd like to say, good sir?
No, I think that's everything.
All right, so we thought this was going to be a short episode, but
yeah, we always think it's going to be short. Yeah.
Thank you guys for listening to the Travis Damian Podcast, episode 49, actually. 49, my bad. Messed up the intro there. Thank you guys for listening to episode 49. We will see you guys next episode 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, later.